welcome to Being Victorious. I've recently started up a new website, and on that website, I help others become Divine Nomad. And I definitely want to give a shout out to that subscriber who a month ago hit me up and said, we need more. I was on my own trek, doing me, and just kind of forgot about you. But I promise that I will not do that anymore. I will make it a conscious effort and a commitment to share my journey with you and to keep inspiring and empowering you. Today is July 26th, which is also the first day of it is also called the Yellow Galactic Seed Year. This is from the Foundation for the Law of Time. A lot of the Mayan work comes through this. You can go to their website. Actually, this book can actually show you at the back of the book. It talks a little bit about how do you find out what your galactical signature is. If you're just interested to know like what your galactic signature is, I could certainly figure it out for you and share it with you. But you could certainly also go to their website, wonderful website, lawoftime.org, and they have wonderful things as well. So that's one thing that I have right now that's really awesome. I have been reading The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino, which I've read the book years and years ago, and it's in my library of books. And one of my friends, shout out to Pele, she was reading the book, and she was talking about how she was going to do the book, how he prescribed you to do the book, and I was like, I don't remember him prescribing me to do the book in a certain way. So in the first scroll out of the 9, it's all about habits. And that's one of the things that I'm definitely going to be talking a little bit about more in the next couple of months is habits. Because even me, I have some of the worst habits ever. And one of the things that he says in this book is that you have good habits, you have a better chance of succeeding. It pretty much opens the door to success. But if you are living your life based on bad habits, you're pretty much living a life you're unlocking all doors to failure. You're not going to win with bad habits. It just doesn't happen. It's about our mindset. That's one of the major tenets in being a divine nomad, and even being victorious is all about the mind. It's all about your mindset. And we have this mind that's active, and we also have this mysterious mind that basically everything that we do comes through that. Our dreams come through that. Our consciousness, it's what creates manifestation. And so as long as we are focusing, what we focus our energies on, that's what we actually manifest. So what we see in our lives today is based on whatever we focused our minds on. Basically, his first thing is that I will form good habits and become their slave. Like, that is the affirmation, slave. So then he talks about how when we are undeveloped, we are slave to our impulses. Meaning, if we crave something, we do it. If we feel emotional about something, we act. If we have this belief that hasn't been checked, we'll act. If we are in fear of something, we act. Based on our environment, we act. Based on our habits, we act. So we just act based on everything. So basically, we are reacting. Our habits, some of our habits are due to us just reacting. And what he prescribes is that if you are an adult, developed, if you want to be straight up grown, you need to be a slave to your habits. But you need to be a slave to those that are good. And he says, if he must be a slave to habit, let me be a slave to good habits. And that he wants to destroy all bad habits and then prepare, his life for good habits. Here is check your habits. check what it is that you do every day and why you do what you do. It's so funny in saying that. I just heard somebody, I not just, but months and months ago, I was taking a woman development class, and that was one of the things that we were asked to do. We were asked to do the exact same thing. So here it is, asked to evaluate what we do and why we do it. I definitely want you to definitely start to look at what habits you have and start to question whether or not they are what habits are you a slave to, and are you willing to be a slave to some of those habits. I could tell you I'm a slave to some really bad ass habits, and I don't want to be a slave to them. Actually, I want to be a victor to them. And so in doing this, it's also made me really question, how bad do I want it? Every day in this book, another thing that he tells you that you start off with is you say, today I begin a new life. So every day I am saying that I begin a new life. Intellectually, I understand it. What does that look like? What does that feel like? What is a new life? And I understand, because this is what gets people really, really up, not wanting to take even the advice that I give and the maps that I hand out to people and the charts to actually create the life that they want, is because they're afraid of what that life is going to look like. But I know I do get a little bit afraid of the unknown. But I can tell you one thing about me is I will be afraid for a while, but there will be a moment when I'll just say, you know what? It's time. Let's make it happen. Let's just do it. And then nothing stops me. So there's two things I want you to think about. Think about your habits. Think about what you fear about, especially if you have some bad habits that you're holding on to and you know they do not do you any good. You know they torture you. You know they oppress you. You know they keep you down. I want you to ask yourself, why do you allow that to happen? You have control over that. We have all the control over all of those things, and we just got to get out of being slaves to them, being zombies, being programmed to react at the drop of a tear or a word someone may say that triggers us towards that habit. We have to rebel. Put your fist up and say no. And you rather just do it to yourself. But if you got to throw your fist up physically just so that you can see yourself throw your fist up, or just say no, do it. If that's going to keep you from being a slave to something that you know and you don't want to follow. So after you find those habits that you are a slave to, what I want you to do is to then start to think about what habit would you like to have on the other side of that. So if it is waking up, you're battling procrastination and you always hit the snooze button. What can you do to keep from hitting the snooze button? Well, maybe first thing is you could just move the snooze button completely, or your alarm, to a whole nother side of the room, so it forces you to get up and go and hit it yourself. But just start to think about it. Start writing down what you do every day. Be real honest with yourself, because it's only you that you're being honest with. You don't have to share anything with me unless you want to share it. I'm not going to judge you at all. Definitely come check out my website. Come check out my website. Some wonderful things are about to start popping off over there. So I'm super, super excited. Going to have a podcast that we're going to be doing on a weekly basis. Going to be having some interviews with some phenomenal people who are out there making things happen. If you need a guide or life strategist services, you're going to find that also on my website. But definitely hit me up, check out the videos, check out the blog, subscribe to the blog. If you do nothing else, subscribe to the blog, subscribe to this YouTube station, and we'll keep it popping. So I look forward to talking to you later.